Hey guys, as promised, here's the first one of my instructional videos for you. Nice and easy one. Got a lot of questions about thermostat changes, so thought this would be a good opportunity to show you. The reason I say it's a good opportunity is because while my front end is off the car, you can get a very good view of the thermostat housing itself and the access required. Now, when you come to your car, you'll no doubt have a plastic cover across here that removes with a couple of clips, and this cover here comes out with two bolts that go in there into the inlet manifold there, which I've already removed for ease. Now when you're taking this out, you just got to be a little bit careful, bit of wiggling, and away you go. Okay, now it is advisable to have a spare dipstick tube to hand because these are quite brittle, but mine should come out nice and easy like that. And it's this bit at the bottom here that usually breaks. So for ease of access, what you'll need to be doing, you'll need to be taking this pipe here off, this water pipe. So you quite simply just get some grips, squeeze that clip together, move the clip away, pull the pipe off. That is going to release some of the coolant. Some people are advised to drain the whole coolant. Well, if you do so, that's about 5 litres in there. It's quite drastic just to change a thermostat. You can get away with using a lot less, unless you do a coolant flush anyway. So your access will typically be this area here, okay, because this is where the slant panel will be coming across. The alternator, a lot of people say remove the alternator. It's not really in the way. All you have to do is, once you've disconnected your battery, is just take this cable off the alternator here. Okay, so that's going to be a little 8mm to get onto that one there. It's my first attempt at holding a camera and working on a car, so bear with me. And that'll get in around the back there, little 8mm nut on there. Now again, your access, realistically, you'll probably usually want to be coming in from sort of this angle here with a slight extension on to be able to get to that past the coolant pipe, but there's still enough room. Okay, and I've cheated, I've skipped forward a little bit just to show you, and I've also put some gloves on because I'm going to be working on my car all day. I don't want dirty hands. So once that's there, you're able to just get the nut off, being careful not to drop it. And there we go, the nut inside there. So keep that like that. So that means this clip will come off here quite easily then. Like so. Then we've just got to get this, there's usually a cap over this, just got to get a 13mm socket onto there. And again, your access is usually going to be from here, so I'll stop cheating. Okay, so that cable's going to come off there. We can get that out of the way. Just put that nut back on there so it doesn't get lost. Okay, so now you can see your access. Now, if we were to look straight past the alternator, yet you haven't got a clear line of sight to that bottom bolt, and that's what most people usually complain about, is the access to that bottom bolt. But once you've got that cable out of the way, if you look more from this angle here, that's a lot straighter because you can get past here. And like I say, that's the issue that most people face. So I'm just going to get my tools ready for that. Okay, so this is my 1/4 inch with a little wobble extension on the end. It gives it a little bit of flexibility there, and a deep 10mm socket, which I find is the best combination for access. So you'll be able to see here But this top one here is easily accessible. There's no real issues with that. You know, you can see from this angle here, there's nothing in the way really, so I can just crack that one off. Oh, I've done this up too tight previously. So parts of this do require two hands just to hold things steady, and obviously I'm trying to do it one-handed with my phone in my hand. See, once you get to this point, that top one's very easy to just spin out of the way. So I'll crack the bottom one now. Now, like I say, because that cabling's out of the way, you find that your access is actually very easy, like that, and that's on there perfectly fine. You can see the angle from the top here. Yeah, that's what you'll be able to see when you're working on it. You know, it's not that bad to get to. So we'll just get on and crack this one off, which again is a two-handed job, so bear with me. So there we go. Now that I've been able to use two hands to crack it off. So you need two hands because you need to be able to hold the extension in place correctly so that you don't round the head of the bolt. So just whip this one out. Keep it down to the extension. Like I say, your access is usually going to be sort of from this angle here. And if you look through the gap in your inlet manifold, you can kind of get a view of what you're doing as well. Like I say, I'll go back to this view so you can see clearly what's happening. So now we've got both those loose. So those will just come out now, nice and easily. So if we just, I'm going to use my left hand now because it just gets in the gap easier. Oh, you can ignore this. You'd usually remove this clip, but mine's been broken in the past, and that's just a quick bodge just to get me home. That's one bolt out. And the lower one here. There. So then, again, this is your view you'll have from the top, sort of this angle here. This housing will just come off with a bit of a wiggle, and that's it. We're dropping coolant, a tiny bit that was left in the housing. Now, you know, it's around the edge of the housing. You've got this step here. That's where the O-ring will seat to, and you can see the O-ring there on the outside of the thermostat there. Okay, now I'm not going to remove my thermostat because it doesn't need to come out, but to remove it, usually just a bit of a wiggle on this part here will break the seal and the thermostat will come out. That's when your coolant's going to come out. So if you can get the new thermostat ready to push straight back in with your new O-ring to go around there, then you'll be fine. And you shouldn't lose too much coolant. Now, obviously, as it says in the Haynes manual, refitting is the reverse of removal. So just pick this up. So again, this is why you've got the hose off the end of this part, so it just comes off very easily. So we'll just locate that there, and then all you want to do is you want to put your bolts in by hand, gently. Because it's an awkward angle, you don't want to run the risk of cross-threading it by just going straight at it with the socket. So I'll get that one in there, and you can feel by hand if you're getting onto the threads correctly. And I would advise getting both of them in before you start to fasten them up. So again, the bottom one is the more difficult one at this stage, but being patient and taking your time, you can get that in nice and tight. So I can feel that that's now in place comfortably, so I'm happy to now, again, just starting this off just with the extension. Again, just so you can feel if it is off. And get the light there. Just see the, there we go, you can just see the bolt there. Now this is the one that you have to be really careful with, because you can't get straight on it. It is likely, well, you run the risk of cross-threading. And there we go. So just getting that nipped in slightly. So I'm going to nip the top one in as well there. There we go. It's going in nicely, it feels good. Doesn't feel like anything's going wrong with that. The top one's now taking the pressure away from the bottom, so that will go in very easily there. Hopefully you can see that. The lighting's quite bad. There we go. So this is just using the extension on your fingers just to get that in, and just to make sure that feels right. Now the thing is, it goes in quite easily at this point as well, so putting your ratchet on the end just gets a bit frustrating. So all that's left now to do is just to nip that up. Now, top tip, always use genuine parts, because it is a bit of a fiddly job and you don't want to have to be repeating the process in 12 minutes time when you've got another one that's sticking either open or closed and causing you either overheating or underheating issues. So now that I've got it fairly tight, I'll just release the end of, now that I've got it nice and tight, I'll just release the end of my flexi joint so there's a bit of give there, so that that part can get on there straighter, like so, and I can just nip that up. There we go, and the top one, just give that a bit of a tighten there. And there you have it. The new thermostat's in, so don't forget you've just got to put this plug back on here in the correct location, and then put your alternator wiring back in. Now it's easier to get this clip on first before you worry about the top connection there. The little nut there. Again, I'll do it from the top so I'm not cheating. This is the point where with gloves it makes it a little bit fiddly. But I usually find holding it between two fingers like that is usually the easiest way. Okay, now that that nut's on, what we have to do is obviously reconnect your alternator. So I've got the nut resting on gently at the minute. So we've just got to tighten that up, plug back on there, put your hose back on there, you clip round the back of there, and you are done. Thanks for watching, and I'm happy to answer any questions, but as you can see it is a fairly easy process. Thanks again.